And he's already got 4 to aim for. Odegaard urged to shoot and does! Brilliant strike! Declan Rice on duty, into the near post and in! And they have made it 2. And it looks like an own goal off Ruthlessness. That's a nice little ball inside, Binte! Oh! That is something very, very special. David Raya at full stretch. Minter thought it was in, and so did plenty of others.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Real Arsenal Talk with your hosts Larry and Steve V. That's right, it's the Steve and then V. You know how it works. How's it going, Stevie?
Oh.
How's it going?
Not three bad. Larry, how are you and the little Tasmanian devil, should I say? Or, yeah.
Tasmanian Tom, love it. That's a good one, actually. I love it. That's a good one.
Did Santa bring you everything you wanted? Or are you just kind of...
That's right, yeah. Merry Christmas and all that stuff. It's been and gone now. It didn't give me what I wanted. I mean... Well, yes. I
little
think
Tasmanian devil.
He was the president, I suppose, but for the rest of the people in the house, yeah, it was just one of those. Let's just do some exchanges, you know, as tradition. It wasn't really much thought of in terms of what presents everyone wants. You know what I mean? It's just like small things because we're like, I think we spent enough this year with the house and the car and the fucking baby. Now it's like everything happened in the same year. So you know, hey, I'm grateful. Everything went all right so far, and yeah, the little one's just a terror, man. You know,
The icing on the cake, all the stress.
This guy, he's got like his timings and stuff where it's just very, very inconvenient for everyone. It's like, are you kidding? You've just been up.
The wife.
Yeah.
Do you know what I did say? He didn't know the wife, because the wife kept saying, "Oh, when's his baby due? When's his baby due?" She went, "It'll all change. Them pods won't be happening as frequently." I was like, "No, he'll be sorted. He'll know." You know, and like she was right, wasn't she?
Well, in a way, yes, but not really, because once the outlaws have been outlawed.
Are they still there?
Yes.
Where are they today?
That's the issue, because you know it's only a 1-bedroom flat that we live in, so you know, in the living room. So once you know they vacate the premises, it will be much easier because there will be 2 actual rooms in the house. So yeah, for the first month, I'll admit I didn't think it was going to be as bad, but it's just a bit difficult to, like, you know, set up everything in the car and then signals and then the cold, and it's like, fuck's sake, and sleep.
Yeah.
But anyway, look, we've still been a bit more frequent. You know, it was only that stretch of when the child was born, really, that 1 week that we didn't do it. So you know, it's been a lot more frequent, my friend. We've had to postpone, like, you know, half an hour here and, you know, 24 hours there.
I know. I think, yeah, it's tricky because when we do a pod the next day, our emotions are still relatively raw and high, aren't they? Whereas today, I'm a bit more, not so optimistic. It's not the right word. I'm a bit more level-headed, if you know what I mean.
Maybe that's what we need, Stevie. Maybe that's what we need. We need that day of rest where it's like, okay, we are removed from this match. But I'm with you. And look, I watched the first half, obviously, you know, full focus. Like I said, I've made notes. The second half was a whole different story. So I've actually gone back and watched the second half 3 times now in the last 2 days, because I missed it live, and you know, I only caught bits, and I was like, you know what, I need to go back and actually watch it. So I watched the full second half about 2 hours ago, really.
Yeah, that was nice and fresh.
So, well, nice and fresh, but I wish it wasn't, to be honest. But we'll start from the first half, where, in all fairness, we actually did freaking dominate, like, the whole of that first half. It was just brilliant, but you know, it could have been better. But before we start lineups and all that stuff, obviously there was no Calafiori, there was no Timber. I mean, look, that's just stuff of nightmares, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Why? Who is writing the script, by the way? They need to stop this, right? It's the sequel, it's the whatever number it is now, it's just stop it, okay? It's like Fast 7 and Fast 10. Like, we've had enough of this now, okay? Can we change the script, please? Yeah, I mean, what did you make of that when you first read it? I know you messaged me, but what did you make of it?
Yeah, because obviously you wait, don't you, and you wait for team news, which is normally given out about an hour before. So I get the team news and I see it, and I see Timber's been excluded. He's not in the squad. So I was like thinking, shit, what's he done? What the fuck's happened? I thought, okay, we can possibly cope with this. We've still got Saliba, we've still got Hincapié, still got Calafiori, and we've got Declan Rice at right back, which, you know, we'll come on to. But yeah, and then sort of half an hour into that, about 2:30, I think you got the message from me. It was like, now Calafiori's pulled out. So you're thinking, what the fuck is happening? Like, I just thought to myself, the season's cursed completely. Never mind the club. This season is cursed for us not winning it. The only saving grace is it's not like it was Aston Villa. It's not like it's Man City. It's not like it's Liverpool. It's Brighton at the end of the day. Yes, a decent side on the day, but we should be able to cope. And, you know, we did. And this is what I said to you, and I might have mentioned it. I don't know whether I said it to you or whether I put it on a post on some social media website, but I said, why doesn't he go 3-5-3? You know, flood the midfield, and we could cope with three at the back with Saliba and Hincapié and Rice at the back, because if we flood the midfield and we're at home, we should be dominating teams, especially at home. I understand away from home, we might have, you know, wanted to shore it up and put more defenders on. But my argument was, why didn't he put three at the back? With obviously, I know he put Lewis Skelly in anyway. Why did he go for Hincapié, Saliba and Rice, them three at the back, and then play Norgard, Norgard, Odegaard, Eze, Zubimendi, and I know he put Marino in there, but why not go for Nwaneri? Right, so that's five in the midfield. So you could have obviously two of the holding. You've got Zubimendi and Norgard, and three attacking type of players, as well as the three up front. At home, this is what he should be going for. But the lineup to me was, again, it was like, oh, let's go negative. Let's put a defender on and put four at the back and three in midfield, 4-3-3, and yeah. What were your overall thoughts on that setup to start with? Obviously, with Skelly coming in. What was your thoughts? Was it like a bit of a negative, or was it, you know, what it was expected with it being Arteta?
I mean, with Skelly, he's usually a positive type of player, and you know he will go forward. So in effect, it will just become two centre backs in Saliba and in Hincapié, and obviously with Rice sort of slotting into that midfield role. But yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying. You know, you could have gone three at the back, but even the way that it sort of, what worried me is the fact that Timber and Calafiori had pulled out from the match. Right, that was my overall worry in terms of the actual personnel picked. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Rice being in the right back position. I know initially we thought it was Zubimendi, but with Rice being in the right back position. But then when you actually think about that, it's like, well, he didn't really spend too much time on that right hand side. You know, he was always in the midfield, slotting in and then overloading the midfield, which I feel like in the first half was very, very good. He was fantastic, really. Yet again with Rice, very, very good. So I wasn't. Not too many problems with the actual personnel. It's just the overall worry of, again, we've got two defenders out now. That makes what is that, four defenders, four centre, like
White.
So White, Timber, Calafiori, Mosquera. That's four, right? Like minimum.
Yeah.
Is there
yeah. That's it.
Yeah. So that's four defenders now. Do you know what I mean? And that's the worrying part about it. They played good. I mean, the first half especially, that the guys at the back, they held it well. Hincapié was very good again. Saliba was very good yet again. And I like the fact that obviously when the match started, they showed Gabriel on the bench, and that sort of. I did think he was going to come on, to be fair. Like, you know, at some point in the game, I thought he was going to come on maybe second half. But, you know, I think he came on around the 65th minute, something like that. So,
about 20 minutes in there.
Yeah, it was good to see. I mean, obviously, there wasn't much that you can expect from him. He's been out for, what, a few weeks now, is it?
Like, six weeks?
Yeah, about 6 weeks, is it?
Yeah.
6 or 9 weeks?
November, wasn't it? It was November, middle of November.
So, a long time that he's been out, and yeah, just glad to see him back, really, and that sort of gave me a little bit more of a boost going forward. But again, very, very worrying about the defenders and how they're getting injured. I'm not really sure what the injury was for Timber or Calafiori, to be honest with you, but I don't think it was anything major. It was probably with Calafiori. I think it was more precautionary, like just to sort of keep him.
I think Timbers was apparently. I think they were just managing his workload again, and
that makes sense.
Yeah,
because we play again as we record. We play again tomorrow, so it's gonna be difficult for sure to manage. But then again, other teams are doing the same thing. They're going through the same thing. It's you can't just victimize ourselves because we've got injuries. Well, all the teams do. So luckily this time we'd actually recruited decently, and we had players to slot into the different positions. But yeah, so but yeah, look, for me that first half was very dominant yet again from Arsenal, and it was the type of performance where you think we were absolutely just going to go 3-0, 4-0 against Brighton, just very, very, very on top of it with everything that we did. I think we had like 15 shots on goal or something like that, 15 shots on target or some stuff, which was, again, very, very good. But where's Stevie gone? Has he gone? Give me some levels, Stevie. I think you may have disappeared on me.
Hello?
Yeah, there you go. Boom, there you go.
Yeah, sorry.
Cool. Yeah. No, so like I said, I think it was like 15 shots on goal or something daft. But again, we scored one goal from open play, which is a very good goal, by the way. Like, very nicely played. Saka, Odegaard from the outside, which it's something that we've discussed before as well. Him adding that to his game. But, to rely on an own goal, which I know I'm skipping ahead of it a little bit, but just as an overall thing, it's to rely on an own goal and have that many sort of opportunities to score. Even in the second half, by the end of the second half, we still had, I think, maybe 3 or 4 different chances where we could have actually put the game to bed. Martinelli was one of them. But yeah, it was just to see those stats and then to see how the match was won in the end. Just God, I just think of City. That's all I think of. I just think of Man City and how absolutely ruthless they are, and yeah, I think we showed again against Brighton, both from the overall match, we showed again that we are just not that ruthless of a team, which not really good for a championship contender, right? So, but yeah, I mean, look, there's a couple of sort of, like I said, a couple of chances in the first half. Saka, obviously, like we said about the goal. Odegaard, what do you make of that, by the way? Was it? I thought it was quite a good technique that he sort of put it at the keeper's near post rather than trying to curl it out wide. But I don't. Is that something that he meant to do? I don't know.
Obviously, I think we are critical because we want perfection all the time, and that's the issue, isn't it? And I think with Odegaard's strike, he's tried the last few games. He has been trying, hasn't he? He's had a lot more shots from outside the box, and I think that I don't think he purposely aimed for that corner. I just think that's just the way his sort of stance and his projection and his trajectory kind of aimed that sort of way. I mean, I think he scored a few like that about 2 seasons ago when we were really scoring for fun and we were playing with freedom. So I think I'm hoping that it's him coming back to a bit of form, because I think it was one of his better games. Again, I think, like you said before, I'm a bit worried about City. We've scored 4 goals out of our 6 were own goals, which is a bit concerning, a bit worrying, but at the same time, we're still winning games. So you'd think that the tide will turn once the depth comes back, with all our sort of strong defenders come back, and we have a bit more security, thinking, well, because our midfielders are probably trying to help out the defence, and which is impacting on our attack, possibly. I don't know, but whether you want to talk about our attack, I know I certainly do.
Do we have to, though? Because that's just a very sore point.
I know,
for God's sake.
Mate, I don't know, but Odegaard, one of his better games personally. He hasn't had many, but at least it's a positive that he's actually shown a bit of form Declan Rice, like, he always seems to have a 7 out of 10 easy, but it was a cracking game from Rice. Played absolutely superb at right back.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Again, it's definitely out of position, but he's the type of player where you don't really mind that he's out of position because he's got the speed, he's got the strength, he's got the ball.
He does that anyway, doesn't he? He plays everywhere. All the time.
Exactly. He'll always drop deep and pick up the ball and stuff. So, but it's very, very different to when Thomas Partey was doing that sort of role, because you think you have no pace, my friend. Like, you cannot chase down anyone. So, but yeah, with Declan Rice, very, very good in that position. Not somewhere I want to really see him often, but if he needs to fill in, then he needs to fill in. So look, for me in the first half, Saka was very, very lively. He was doing some good stuff. He had a few good crosses go in. Unfortunately,
did he?
Yeah. He did.
No, I'm sorry.
He
mate.
did. He had a couple of good crosses.
I'm going to pull you up on it.
He had a couple of good crosses.
Tell me what minute he's crossed the ball.
It was a 30th minute Saka good cross, but no one there.
To who?
To no one there, because Gyökeres wasn't there, and that's
where did the cross go?
Inside the box. The cross went inside the box, but unfortunately Gyökeres was maybe a couple of yards back, which I feel like he probably should have been closer to the 6 yard. The fucking, what's it called, the 6 yard box, whatever it is. So yeah, he did have a couple of good crosses. Like, I can't deny him that. However, I will say this: I've just had a look at the ratings that would do your game, by the way, because I like your game better.
Okay.
But just quickly on the ratings, they've given him man of the match, which I definitely do not agree with. Like,
wow,
that. Okay, for me, spoiler, by the way, which we'll talk. Spoiler for me was either Trossard or Raya as man of the match.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow, that is so bizarre.
Yeah, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it. We'll play your game. We'll play your game at the end. But yeah, look. So he did. He found himself in some good position. And look, the pass that he gave to Odegaard a few minutes before that, he should have done the same thing. He, again, very selfish. Very selfish. I watched Match of the Day, and Alan Shearer was praising him and he's like, "Oh, he was doing this all day, going down the byline." It's like, yeah, but he wasn't doing anything with it. Like I said, he definitely not man of the match. He definitely wasn't as poor as you're going to make him out to be. But yeah, if anything, very just above average for Saka and the way that he's been this season. Really, if you want to talk about the star boy and stuff like that, yeah, very below par. But from what he's produced this season, I'd say a little bit above average. He's had worse games basically, but yeah. For me, I shouldn't have brought Saka up this early, to be honest. But
we won't talk about him. Let's just talk about the match itself.
Yeah, well, look, like I said, in the first half, there was near the end there was a couple of other chances which we definitely should have put away. And there was like 3 of our players missed. Really, again, Saka was there in the box. He was trying to do an overhead kick. Then Gyökeres missed a header, and then Trossard missed at the back post, and you think, this isn't going our way. I've seen this script yet again. I'm sure the last 3 games have gone like this. Where we should have ended the match, but we didn't, and then all of a sudden we're being pressured into silly goals. So yeah, look, for me, it should have been absolutely over. So the second half, they should have come out and just toyed around a little bit, but it should have been 3-0 or 4-0 or something like that, because Brighton offered absolutely nothing against us, and that's what makes it even worse. Yes, we're not scoring, but they're not even threatening. So we're just literally letting it go to waste. And by the end, they were like, "Oh, fucking hell, Arsenal are pretty easy to play against. Actually, let's just pressure them," and they did, and they scored a goal. And by the end, it was very, very fucking nervy, because they've had 3 or 4 chances, and obviously we'll get to the David Raya save. But if it wasn't for him, it would have been a draw that match. Probably even lost it at 3-2, to be fair. But yeah, so for you, in terms of the overall first half, anything that sort of stood out to you? Anything that you want to? Any players in particular?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, the first half was complete dominance. The obviously the Gyökeres miss after within the first sort of minute or 2, wasn't it? You could either look at it that he was a bit cold. He wasn't as up to match sharpness as he could have been. It was his first touch, and I look at it and I think I've sometimes seen those that happened before, and I've done it myself. I remember a ball comes over and it's got spin on it, and it's going away from you with spin, because obviously Trossard he crossed it in, didn't he? And the ball itself was probably spinning slightly towards goal, and Gyökeres hit it with his inside of his foot, and because the ball was probably spinning towards goal, it just went flat. And I think he probably did try and lob it personally. Who knows? But I think that was kind of. I thought to myself, I hope that doesn't continue, and I hope he doesn't have one of his shit games, because he needs a confidence boost in performance. But overall, the first half it was complete dominance, and it should have been like higher. The score should have been 2 or 3 at least. The first half.
What I did like about the first half was, for me, Odegaard, another contender, by the way, for man of the match. I thought he was very good on the day. He had a lot of free roam about his play, and yet again, it's that word free, and just who cares what you do? Just go do what you do best. Basically, that's what I gauge from that Odegaard performance. It's like, just go do what you do. Find yourself in that position outside the box where you can shoot, and he did. And he was everywhere. That free roaming style that he loves to play. That's why he was good. That's why we got him, because he was that flair player. He was the guy to create. So yeah, there was a few instances where again he was just picking up the ball. He was finding players like Marino, for example. I feel like Marino was a wasted player on the day, because Eze could have been in that position. Yeah, absolutely. And again, I cannot defend him because he didn't score this time. So, but yeah, I think I was crying out for Eze, by the way, from the first minute when I saw the way that Odegaard was playing. I really thought Eze would slot in here, or in Nwaneri, for example, just someone, another person with a bit of flair, with a bit of flamboyancy, But Eze would have been perfect for that role. I feel like wasted opportunity, and like you said as well at the top of the episode, with the way that you would have lined up, Eze was part of that team as well, part of that squad that you said. So yeah, it just felt like one of his type of games where he could have bullied the defenders, he could have bullied the midfielders, because that's what we did, but we weren't clinical enough. Like Gyökeres, yes, he missed, but he had a much more improved performance than we have seen of late from him. We saw the runs, a couple of chances where again he just doesn't have the pace to cut in between defenders and trying to chase that ball. But that's fine, that's not who he is. But just running off the back of defenders and absolutely just that Turkish lad, or the Turkish sounding fucking lad, their left back. My God, he was absolutely just tortured in the first half by Rice and Gyökeres. So yeah, like you said, he had that chance where he tried to shoot, where he sort of fought the defender and he shot, obviously, close to goal. Yeah. Very powerful. Yeah, that's what he does, and I don't mind that. Right, I don't mind that. I'm not going to sit here and be like, "Oh, Fuguru should have scored." Yeah, okay, maybe he should have scored, but he's having a better performance now, and that's where we need him to be. And that's why I said, like, that Saka cross that I mentioned. He should have been in that position, to be honest. But that was quite early on. By the end of the game, or by the time he got substituted, he had improved, I feel, and maybe he could have even got a goal by the end, because their defenders really tired. And when Jesus came on, that really showed like how much their defenders are tired. So. But yeah, look, first half, there was that incident, by the way, in the 45th minute, Verbruggen taking down Gyökeres outside the box, just a yellow card. What do you make of that? I don't know about that. Like,
I think when I've looked back at it, when I first seen it, I was like, I think that's a yellow card, personally. I know it was a bit of he clattered him, didn't he? He totally took him out, and it was so uncalled for, and I thought it was a bit harsh on Gyökeres, that, because it must have hurt him, that. And then when I look back and I said, oh no, the ref's got it right. But if you think if Gyökeres had got past, if the keeper had come out and Gyökeres had got past him without being fouled, he was probably at an angle where he could have probably shot and scored, or passed it to someone with the tap in. So for him to be taken out like that, I think it was a red. Just purely out of the fact that it might not have scored Gyökeres might not have scored from it, but if he hadn't have been taken out like that, and if he'd have got back up, Verbruggen was out of his goal, he could have shot. The angle wasn't completely it wasn't like a 85 degrees or something. It was about 70 degrees, wasn't it? So the angle was still there for him to shoot it, or even to square it for someone, for them to put it into an empty net. So looking back on it, I think that it was probably the wrong decision, but I can see why it wasn't given as a red. But
I agree. Yeah, exactly what you said. And to be honest, I thought it was a red from the beginning. By the way, like at no point did I ever think that was a yellow. That was a straight red for me. It should have been anyway, because it was outside the box. It clattered him, and like you said, the way that they had a defender running to Gyökeres' left, but like you said, if he'd gone past Verbruggen, that goal would have been wide open. So that's a clear goal scoring opportunity as far as I'm concerned. Should have been a red card, but. Yeah, he was lucky. I feel he was lucky.
He was.
I don't think they mentioned that on the match of the day, did they? They didn't pick that apart, to be honest. So which I thought was a bit weird, to be fair. But yeah, I thought that should have been a red. I know you saying you understand why it was a yellow. I don't, because it was just a clear goal scoring opportunity, and the fact that the keeper was actually outside of his box, it felt like it was more sort of, I need to get at this player now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I need to get at him, and he did.
I think it was a bit of a rash challenge. Like you say, I can see why it wasn't, but I could also argue it should have been. So. Like you say, you can see the red, which I understand, but I can also see the other side of it. So it's one of those, if we were 0-0 and we'd be in 80th minute, we'd be all crying out for a red card. But because we were 1-0 up, weren't we, at the time? It's not so bad.
But is that a justification? Is that a good enough reason?
No, it's not.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's VAR, isn't it? Though.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, yeah, of course they need to add a bit of drama to it, because apparently football is nominated for BAFTA awards, every fucking season. But yeah, it was just a bit wrong call. Definitely from both VAR and the ref, to be honest with you. But anyway, like you said, we were 1-0, but at the same time, on the flip side, is if we lost that match, we would have been really pissed off about the fact that Verbruggen was still on the pitch. So but yeah, first half, anything else that you want to add in the first half, by the way?
No, I think it was just, like I say, it was a dominant performance, and I was just hoping that, well, my concerns at the moment is with probably the last 4 or 5 games, that when we are dominant, we never seem to sort of, make it count, if you know what I mean. Like, that's why our games come back to haunt us, if you know what I mean, like our conceding of late goals. But I think the second half is where I feel is the issue, and it could be something to do with when Gyökeres comes off, because as though he's not scoring the goals, he is, as we've said before, his contribution to the game when he's pulling defenders, they're petrified, aren't they, of him? And this is the thing. And when he comes off, it's like, well, we don't have to concentrate on him now. He normally keeps 2 defenders, doesn't he, at bay? And then when he comes off, the emphasis and the focus seems to go completely, and then the opposition teams seem to push on further up and higher, so that then pushes us further back, which causes more kind of worrying issues. So I hope he doesn't get, because I think if he does that against Villa, we'll get it'll be fatal. We'll get murdered, and this is what we'll talk about, obviously, with the possible lineup tomorrow. And I think if Arteta gets it wrong, we'll get beat. Simple as. So I don't think you should start Gyökeres personally. I would actually start Jesus, because initially we're always quite dominant in the first 30, 40 minutes, and if we're dominant with Jesus or whoever is else up front, then we potentially might score, and then bring Gyökeres in the second half to stop them then pushing forward if we have got an early goal. And I just think that Arteta, he might prove me wrong, but I think he'd probably get it wrong again, me personally. So the first half we were great, but second half obviously that's what happens. Gyökeres comes off, the opposition team pushes on, more pressure because there's less person to worry about in Gyökeres, and obviously the rest is history, and we all know what nearly happened because of it.
I mean, to be fair, their pressure. I mean, from obviously, look real quick on the own goal. Great cross from Rice, as always, that's what he does. And people can complain about own goal FC and all this shit as much as they want, right? At the end of the day, no one's forcing them to score an own goal. Sorry, yes, we are forcing them to score an own goal.
Yeah,
by the way.
because it's chaos. We're putting balls into a position where if they don't deal with it, we're scoring, and because the deliveries are so good that it's putting pressure on their defence and chaos and panic. Because they know how good we are, and it's brilliant. We score, and I don't care. We've said it before. If we score 50 more if the opposition score 50 own goals, and we win the league, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, no, I agree. A goal, any goal, own goal, penalties, whatever they are, right? It's an own goal. That's just the way it counts for us. And obviously, luckily, again, for the last 3 games, or 4 games, it's been
4.
Yeah, 4 games.
4 goals. No, 4 goals out of 6.
Yeah, okay. So that's the last 2 games, then, isn't it? Including
3.
Crystal Palace as well, wasn't it? Yeah, because that's the EFL. Yeah. So I don't really care. I don't really care. If like you said, if by sort of February or whatever it is, we were back and were scoring open play goals, then I don't care about the own goals that happened. That's like a blip as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, it was just a good cross. And there was something interesting, though, during the celebration. I don't know if you noticed that Saliba and Nkapie, even though they were celebrating the goal, they were sort of having a discussion and a debate about something that happened like a couple of minutes beforehand. I'm not really sure what happened, by the way, because again, it's not like I went back and with a magnifying glass, but it was interesting that they were still discussing something that happened. It's like, oh, okay, well, even though nothing came of it from Brighton, they were still worried about it. Like, maybe you didn't cover this guy, or maybe you need to be a bit quicker, whatever it was. I just like that. And in the first half, there was an instance as well where around the sort of 10th, 11th minute, where Saka was having a conversation with Arteta about certain things. And whatever it was discussed, it seemed to have worked, like we said, because that first half was very good. So, but yeah, that was probably the only good thing that came from the second half from us, really. There was a couple of chances, of course, that we will discuss at the end. But then Brighton, from like the 50th minute, or 47th minute, up until about the 75th minute, they were just on top of us, right? They didn't give us a chance, to be honest. And that, again, was such a worrying trend that's carrying on. Because what is the reason behind the drop-off in performance between first and second half? Like, I want to know what is it. But Gyökeres was on. Gyökeres was playing. He came off in the 71st minute. And after Gyökeres came off, things changed because obviously
what
different
minute
players
did they score?
When did they score? Brighton scored. Do you know what? Hold on. I think it was like. Do you know what? Hold on. I've got the notes, mate. Please stand by. So they scored 64th minute. Gomez scored, and Gyökeres was still on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? No. I know what you mean.
From that 7th. Yeah. Okay.
No. I know what you mean. Like basically the change that happened with Jesus and stuff like that, and who was it? And Gabriel that came on. Maybe happened a little bit too late. Do you know what I mean? Maybe freshen it up for as soon as the second half starts. You don't need to carry on players that are not playing that well. Do you know what I mean? Like for me, Lewis Kelly did not have a good game, right? No. He was the only one of our players who got a yellow card. That's not what I'm basing his performance off, by the way. But eye test wise, he lost the ball a couple of times in ridiculous positions, and you think, dude, you've played this game before. Like, this is what people don't like you for, and you're carrying on. So, please stop this. But yeah, Lewis Kelly for me was probably the poorest man on the pitch. From our team, by the way. I don't really care about Brighton, but yeah. So the change that happened, it needed to happen a bit quicker, right? Lewis Kelly could have definitely come off at the top of the second half, but he didn't. So yeah, it was a bit. Jesus could have come on a bit earlier. Martinelli definitely could have come on a bit earlier, even though Trossard had a very good game. But just freshen it up, right? You're not punishing players because you're going to substitute them for someone who's fresher, right? I don't see it that way. If you take a player off in the first half because of poor performance, then that's up to the player, sort of thing. He's had a stinker. But for someone like Martinelli against their defenders, just he proved that when he came on. He actually proved that. It was a bit late for him to sort of really get going, but he proved that he could do the job. Just bring him in earlier. There's no reason to prolong a substitution. So yeah, for me, in the second half, the subs came a little bit late, and in that period of time, that's where we just sort of like lost our heads a little bit, and we just could not get a grip of the game again. And it's just a dropping back. Like you said, there was a moment, even when Jesus came on, I saw him sort of, he had a chance up front, up in their box, and then you see him run back to midfield, and you think, why is he doing that? Right? Why is Jesus doing that? He should be the last person to go running back. Bring Saka, bring Trossard, Martinelli, whoever it was at the time. Bring them back. Jesus is a striker. You let him up there. So yeah, just a couple of decisions that I really didn't care for from Arteta, to be honest. And yeah, it was just a worrying trend. What would you make of it from your end?
Like you say, my theory is the Yokeres incident, because it happened against Palace. Was it Palace as well? That we brought him off 60 odd minutes. Brought him off against Wolves 60 odd minutes, and that trend to me seems to be the catalyst for the opposition to push on, because they've got less of a threat from us up front. It might not be, but it just seems a bit of a coincidence that every time he comes off, we kind of lose our dominance, if you know what I mean. And it was evident, obviously, when he got injured, those few games that he was out for. So, yeah, I'd like to have seen, again, I don't know why Norgard, I don't know why Madueke, I don't know why Wanyeri, I don't know why these and Eze are not getting their games. Now, to me, is it because, first of all, Arteta doesn't trust, I mean, obviously he must trust Madueke because he's proven what he can do in Europe. Norgard, he did it in the AFL Cup, and he did it in Europe as well. Wanyeri, obviously, he completely can't trust him, and obviously with Eze, I'm not sure what the crack is there. So, like you said, at home, especially where we were dominating when it was 2-0. You dominate. You go on and win it, and you go on and pressure. Man City, Liverpool, or even Villa, they wouldn't be sitting back on teams. You go and you kill them off. You go for the third. You go for the fourth. I've never known a team at the top, like a couple of seasons ago, our pressure was immense. It was brilliant. We won so many games, and we won by more than the odd goal. Whereas this year, it's the fear, and it happened last year, and this year is just a continuation of last year, where we're scared to get beat. So the players are not playing with this freedom, and I know we're harping on about it, but it's because it's happening every game, or at
least a half of a game. You know what I mean? But that half usually seems to be the second half, and you just letting it go, and you're thinking, well, what is the fucking point of doing that well in the first half? And okay, look. If in the first half against Brighton we were 5-0 or 4-0, right, like we said, and then you can play however you want in the fucking second half, right? You can first gear, whatever it is, handbrake on, whatever, right? You can do that. That's fine. I can live with that. But if you're not finishing the team off with the chances that you created and the total shots that you had and the shots on goal and stuff like that, if you're not finishing them off in the first half, then you cannot let go in the second half, right? It doesn't work like that. Like it seems like Arteta's got this setting where it's like either you're on or you're off, and it's like, well, you need to balance it out to see what the other team's bringing, and like you said, bring in two different players in the fucking second half when it begins. Just bring them in, right? There's absolutely no reason for him to sort of be that hard-headed. You know what I mean? To make a change. Why isn't his coaches? Why aren't they saying something like, "Look, can we just put someone else on, please?" Because the players that are on right now, they've done well, but we just need that bit of spark. Madueke, perfect. I said Eze, Madueke again, another one who could have just added so much to the team. But what the hell do we do?
I think that, and this, don't get me wrong, I've got great admiration for Arteta, and as we do discuss whether Arteta's the right man. We will speak about it till the cows come home. But I sometimes think that this separates great managers from average managers. Now, I'd even put Emery in a great manager bracket at the moment, because Arteta seems to be reactive instead of proactive, and we're 2-0 up. be proactive and think, right, how can we not see the game out, which seems to be such a negative, Tony Pulis, Sam Allardyce kind of method. It's not the proactive, you need to think, right, let's go and kill the game off. Let's go and put an extra striker on. Let's go and keep Gyökeres on with Jesus. Take Marino off, for instance, who was useless in midfield. This is the negativity that surrounds Arteta, and the reason why we're probably struggling in these games. So unless something just drops, and he thinks to himself, we need to go for it, whether we go a goal behind, so he needs to put more creative players on, which would then sort of transform the team and the dynamics of it. But when we're 1-0 up, or 2-0 as it was on Saturday, or Sunday or whatever it was, when that happens, it seems to we go into a regression. We regress, and it's like let's just keep hold of what we've got, and that just totally wrong mindset to me. And this is what I'm saying, this is what's going to worry me for especially tomorrow night and the next sort of couple of games after, especially when we play Liverpool after Bournemouth. I'm not convinced in this.
That's fair, mate. And again, it's a topic that we discuss pretty much every week, really, whether we win or lose, and it's just part of that conversation, which I really didn't want it to be this season. And as we said at the very beginning episode of this brand new season, obviously that we're going through now, I didn't want to have these conversations again. I wanted to be talking about I can't believe Saka's got 20 goals already, or Gyökeres has got 15 goals. You know what I mean? But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the same bullshit that we've always been talking about. In the second half, look, I don't want to spend too much time, but the difference was just tremendous. They had 8 shots to our 3. In the second half, it just showed the dominance that they were just putting on us, really. And obviously the goal came. I thought it was a good goal, to be honest. Anyone to blame? I don't really think so. Whoever was right back at the time.
Rice, wasn't it?
Was it Rice? I don't know. Maybe someone else was there. I don't know.
He was stood ball watching, which he didn't expect to come back off the post. But
it happens in a quick second. I get it.
He didn't react.
He didn't react, and that's fine. Look, I'm not going to say Rice was definitely at fault. It's just one of those things that happens. It could have come off the post and gone straight out. Could have gone in. You know what I mean? Back of keeper's head, whatever it is. But they found themselves in those positions, and I think it was when that Minte came on, he was very good.
Good player.
He was very good. I really enjoyed watching him, to be honest. And he caused many problems. Even for I think he came on before Skelly came off. Maybe he was the reason Skelly did come off, because he was just getting owned. But Minte offered quite a lot, and obviously there was the goal, there was the shot that he had inside the box, which Raya, I'm going to go ahead and say, the best save of the season. I don't care what happens
so far.
I don't care. No one's going to beat that save, right? That was incredible save, and the fact that it would have made it 2-2, it added so much more to the actual value of what he did. But yeah, tremendous. And for me, that could be a reason why I said he could be a man of the match, because he saved us. He literally saved us. And again, he went down afterwards, and I was a bit worried. I was like, oh God, if Kepa comes on right now, does that mean that Brighton are going to score? Oh God. But luckily that didn't happen, and I hope nothing really comes from that Raya sort of, him going down. But yeah, we had a couple of chances. Martinelli, he should have 100 million% should have scored that. And I just can't help but think if Gyökeres was in that position, would he have scored? Yeah. But would have Gyökeres found himself in that position quick enough?
True, true.
So it's like a whole paradox. But yeah, I feel like could have ended the match right there and then. Yeah, he could have come on, got the winner, been the legend that we thought he was going to be. But no, he just couldn't put that away. And it is what it is. And look, straight after that, Brighton could have obviously come back and just drew the game, and no one would have batted an eyelid, right? Because that second half performance would have warranted them. So it would have made it seem as if Brighton had something to offer. But when you take the full game in context, the first half especially, no, they didn't deserve anything from it, but we gave them the chance, right? It's like we were dangling in front of them, we were like mocking them, and they were like, oh, okay, shit, we'll come back at you, and they almost did. So yeah, I mean, Jesus came on, like I said before, a bit late. I wanted him to come on a bit earlier, but he looked a bit lively. He had a couple of good runs into the box. Do you expect much from him right now, Stevie?
Again, I think we've said when we've alluded to this before, when we have all our players back, and obviously Gabriel had 20 minutes, which was great, just to get him ready for tomorrow night. So he's, because he was a bit rusty even against Brighton. And Jesus, again, like you say, he's been out for a year, and he is still rusty, and he's not this tricky player. I mean, it's nice to have. It's certainly nice to have. But is he the answer for our goal scoring problems? Probably not. He's not the answer. I hate to say it, I'm probably looking forward to Havertz coming back more so than with Jesus, but it's early days for Jesus. So again, I'd like to see him start just as something different, just to keep the defenders guessing. I'd like to see him start tomorrow, but I dare say Gyökeres is probably going to start again, which I think is probably wrong. But yeah, he's okay, Jesus. Do you know what I like about Jesus more? I think he's very good at holding the ball. He's a lot stronger. And if I'm being honest, I'd rather have Jesus than Trossard on the left, because my opinion of Trossard is he's very good when he gets his head up. He's technically good, and he's great with a pass, and he's very tricky. When he's got his back to goal, he's holding the ball, he's not strong enough. And I counted quite a few times when he received the ball, he wasn't strong enough, and he always continuously kept going back. So we were in quite a strong position on the left wing. He'd receive the ball, and because he's not physically strong enough, he tends to drift back to our own half, and the attack breaks down. Whereas with Jesus, he's a lot more robust, like we've said before, and I think he could potentially offer more. If we aren't going to buy anyone in January, I think I would like to see Jesus on the left just as an alternative, just for his strength.
He definitely adds to the left hand side for sure, and it's a bit of a shame really with Jesus, because if he didn't have that injury, I just feel like he would have been a massive contributor to our team. Left, centre, whatever it is, he plays along that front line. And as I say that, I just reminded myself of what Arteta doesn't do, right? Is he doesn't let players play across the front line, right? Even though they can, even though Saka, for example, could be just as effective on the left-hand side as he is on the right. Right, from what he does, he could definitely do that. Martinelli could do exactly the same. We've seen him play on the right. We've seen Madueke obviously play both left and right. Jesus can play across the front line. He just doesn't let these players have the freedom to actually go out there and do what they do. No. And what we bought them for, like an Eze, for example. Why would you go out and buy a player like an Eze and tell him how to play or change his playing style?
Exactly.
You might as well just get someone from the academy, mould him into an Eze style, and you know what I mean? It just makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. And it's these little things with Arteta, which his rigidity or his perceived rigidity, it seems to be his downfall.
Yeah, mechanical, isn't it? It's mechanically structured.
Yeah, very, very sort of scheduled. You will move from 3 yards to the right. You cannot move any further than that inwards or outwards.
You need to stay in this quadrant.
Exactly.
You can't go out of there unless I tell you.
Exactly. I'm sure he splits up the pitch into little squares, and he's square 29, right? You can't go anywhere in square 27. You have to be in 28, 29. Whatever it is, right? It just seems very, very... very structured and not in a good way, right? Because there's a good structure, but you just look at Cherki, for example. That guy was fucking unreal, man. He's such a good player. Because you know why? Because there is no rigidity to Guardiola. He's
he's allowed to do it, isn't he?
Just crack on. All of you's in the five at the front, whatever it is, including the midfielders. Just do what you do best. Yeah, do what you do best, and they do what they do best. Haaland, no one's complaining about Haaland not making movements or making runs, right? Because he scores fucking goals. He's there scoring goals. He did. What's it called? Guardiola's not saying to him, "Oh, can you play on the left, please?" Or "I need you to step back and go to the left." No, Haaland, you do what you do best, mate. I'm not even going to touch that, right? That's why I bought you for. And there you go. And that's what happens. You mentioned ruthlessness before we move on to the sort of player ratings or good, bad, and the evil. There was a post that I saw. I can't remember where the source was from, right? So again, apologies if it isn't true. But there was a bit where where Saliba was talking to Gabriel, and he was telling him,
heard this.
It was telling him we're not ruthless enough, or we're not mean enough, right?
Seen that. Yeah.
And if that's true, this is what we've been talking about for the whole of the season. You know, we're just not mean enough. We do not have that mean streak. We're very nice. We're the nice guys, which look. It's fine because it may get us one trophy, a Premier League trophy. But what I worry about is the fragility of the team. We get one trophy. Does that mean for the next 3 seasons we're not even going to compete because we're tired? Or does that mean that we have to be dominant? You know, are we going to be ruthless enough to go for 4, 5 in a row, whatever it is? Again, that's a bit, sort of, over exaggerating. But City did it. They won 4 in a row, right? Ruthlessness. They didn't care about like what Liverpool were doing, what fucking Arsenal were doing. They were like, we're scoring goals, mate. We're winning games. Oh, we've got 30, 40 goals against us. Yeah, but we've scored 120, so it doesn't really matter, does it? Do you know what I mean? So again, they just care about the very foundations of the league and of the game. It's like, we're winning games, we're getting the 3 points. Who gives a shit what the rest of the teams are doing? Right, and that's their philosophy, and I love it. Whereas for us, it's like we get very scared once we see City close to us, or once we see Man City chase Arsenal in the headlines. We just get very scared, and I think
100%.
if Saliba and Gabriel had that conversation, it's I really hope something changes. I really hope that's something that they go back to the training ground and go like, look guys, we need to be meaner. And I'm not saying go in 2-footed and break someone's ankles. That's not the definition of it. Just need to be more ruthless in front of goal and just overload all the creative players. Just let them create, man. Trossard, like you said,
we haven't got any creative players.
We do. No, we do.
We've got
Odegaard, we've got Eze. We've got these players who can create. Saka can create, but just let him be a bit more free. Don't just tell Saka to go straight to the byline. Do you know what I mean? Let him just crack on. Let him play across the front line.
Is it the players or is it the system? Because when I look at if we're going to obviously analyse the game and we analyse sort of like the players as such. If you look at our midfield on Saturday, it was Odegaard, Zubimendi,
and Marino.
Sorry, so it was them 3 midfield.
It's easy for you to forget, by the way, because he sucked on the day.
He didn't really play, did he? He was fucking shit. So you've got Zubimendi, who's more of a number 6, isn't he? Yeah. You've got Marino, who's a pile of shit.
I don't understand his role. I didn't understand his role, by the way. Wasted player.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously Odegaard, which kind of creative if you'd like to think like that, but he is a free spirit. He just sort of goes anywhere, so he's picking it up from defence. He's going into attack. But other than Odegaard, so you've got Trossard on the left, Saka on the right, and Gyökeres, who isn't creative. And you've got Saka, who is ball greedy, and you've got Trossard, who, in my opinion, isn't strong enough. So, out of those 5 in midfield, alleged attackers, if you know what I mean. So you've got Gyökeres, the 3 up front, and you've got Odegaard and Marino, right? There is not an ounce of excitement in that. If you compare that to Liverpool or Chelsea even, and Man City. So to me, this is the issue. Look, we're top of the league, and we've got to keep saying to ourselves, we're top of the league, and when are we going to fall? We haven't fell yet. Yes, City have closed the gap, but we've had our issues. We've had injuries. We've had tricky fixtures. They haven't. Blah blah blah. I'm just obviously with what you were saying there about being ruthless and being with the defenders and things like that. If they've been saying that. Is it because the players that Arteta picks aren't good enough to be ruthless? That's what I was trying to allude to there. Are they good enough? And my concern is, I don't think they are. Or the system that we're playing isn't to their strengths.
The players that you mentioned, like Odegaard, for example, he's very lightweight, isn't he? And so it makes it kind of difficult to be mean and ruthless, because once you get shoulder barged out the way, you kind of lose all credibility as a man, really. So it's a bit like, right, well, we can't win with that. And Rice, especially in this match, he was playing. He had his own problems. Sort of trying to be a midfielder and a right back at the same time. So he was out of that creative space. Zubimendi, I feel. See, this is interestingly, I think Rice being on the right-hand side, I thought it would have made it easier for Odegaard and Saka to link up, all three of them linking up. But what actually happened was Odegaard had to drop back to pick up the ball because there was no Rice to carry the ball, you know? Even though you try to do that on the right, but that you can't really have them both in that space, you know what I mean? You need to have them in opposite sides, so when Rice picks up the ball from the defence to run it forward, he's got Odegaard to pick it up for the rest of the journey, sort of thing, you know? But I just feel like that was probably a main difference. Yeah, even though it worked, because, you know, Rice was very good in the positions that he played, but it takes him out of the strength. And like you said, that's where you bring Marino in, and you think he's not the right guy. Like, Marino shouldn't even be considered as a midfielder. Just leave him on as a backup striker, right? As a third choice striker. He's happy with that. We're happy with that, right? Do not waste a midfielder or midfield space on Marino. That's where the negativity comes in, as far as I'm concerned, especially in that match, because there's options. There is absolute better options that you can play. Eze, like we said, Waneri, all that stuff. So yeah, it was very, very negative and very difficult to be mean when you don't have the right sort of compactness in the midfield, you know, because Zubimendi, even though he is short, he is quite strong as a player, right? I trust him with the ball. I don't think he gets bounced around that easily. But at the end of the day, you know, he's small in stature, and if you put a bigger, like a Joelinton against him, for example, who do you think is going to win that battle? You know what I mean?
Onana.
Yeah, Onana, exactly. And is he Villa player?
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
There you go. It's. That could be difficult, and again, that doesn't mean you put Marino in there because he's stronger or bigger. No, I don't want to
see Marino tomorrow night.
I do not want to see Marino. Like, I don't want to see him on the bench
to try and get an equaliser and throw him on at the end.
Striker, as a backup striker or a second striker. Do it that way. That's fine. I do not want to see him in that midfield. There's so many better options. But yeah, so I hope that's a conversation that they have on the training ground about the mean and the ruthlessness of their team. But yeah, look, Stevie, I don't have anything else to add for the match, by the way. Wow, I can't believe we have literally analysed the hell out of that match. It's been an hour and we've been talking about that match. Jeez.
Do you want to do...
let's do
categories, yeah?
Yes, let's do categories. I like that, right? Please, it's your thing, so please take it away.
What I'll suggest is that I don't think anyone was terrible, apart from obviously Skelly. So what we could do is we'll start off from who you believe was sort of like great. We won't say man of the match, but we'll start off the best, and then we'll just go maybe average or something, because yours might be slightly different to mine. I kind of get the impression. So anyway, great.
Okay, yeah, you go
first.
Great.
Great, lad. I think obviously you can't go further than Big Deck. I think he was great in my opinion. Some of his tackles were outstanding. Some of his marauding runs, at one point I think he took it from right back and he was getting chased back by their left back, and then he just found another gain. I thought, where did that pace come from? Because he's not renowned for his pace yet. He was just going down that right hand wing, and it was like, wow, you've just gone up another couple of notches in my estimation. So overall, I think Deck was on a par for man of the match with me. I thought he had a fantastic game. You know, like you say, you can put him in goal, you can put him up front. He would probably do a job for you no matter what. So, very, very impressed with Deck. He was on my really, really, really good, awesome great, kind of
on the great list. Yeah, on the great category
list. I liked Nketiah. I don't know about yourself. Nketiah was good. I thought Odegaard probably was in that category. I thought he was close to match. Obviously, David Raya for that outstanding save. Nketiah, Raya, Rice, Odegaard, and yeah, that's for me.
I think for the great category, for me, I've probably got two players in there, and that's probably Odegaard and Rice. Odegaard, not just because of the goal. I thought he had a very good game. His movements were fantastic. Just wish we could have obviously been on the score. Like, we could have scored some of his passes, but that's by the by. But I think for me, him and Rice in the great category. In terms of Nketiah and Raya and Saliba, I'll probably put them in the good category. It's because they didn't have an outstanding match. Obviously, you know, Raya, yes, he had that great save, but, you know, didn't really do much apart from that. And
I'm just thinking in the context of the match and the scoreline. Yes, he didn't have a fantastic game, but that, to me, it was like a winning goal, that save. So that's why I've got to elevate him personally.
That's fair.
It's like if he'd come up from a corner and got a winning goal, it was that good, wasn't it? It was Schmeichel-esque, wasn't it?
Yes,
really. So, but I understand he didn't have a great game, but that for me personally was a put him in the great category.
Yeah,
well, that's me.
And that's absolutely fair. That's absolutely fair. And obviously, I know I said at the top of the episode where he could be my man of the match, but I think just from that one save doesn't really justify, or it doesn't do a service to the other two players like a Rice and Odegaard, who actually had very good, influential, especially first half anyway.
Fair enough.
But yeah, and sorry, and the last person I would put in my good category would be Saka as well. I put him in good. Or is it? What's the other category below it? Is it average?
Average.
Oh, okay, yeah. Then I put him in the average one. Sorry, I didn't realise. Yeah, I put him in between the average and the good category, above average. Okay. As I said, I will stick with that because I didn't think he had a very poor game. But yeah, so those are. Okay, let's go back to the good. So I've said my good. Who was in your good?
My good was probably Saliba, Zubimendi.
Yeah.
Two of them really.
That's
maybe Trossard.
Yeah.
Trossard was between good and average, I think. I didn't think I personally didn't think he had a great game, and just the fact that he lost possession and he wasn't strong enough holding the ball up. And this is where I would be crying out for someone like Semenyo. It would be someone perfect in that position, left wing, strong, exciting going forward. But again, we're not going to get him. So, but yeah, to me, Trossard, okay, okay to good.
I'm happy to leave Trossard in the good category. I just thought he was very positive. He was positive, but like you said, there was a couple of chances, especially in that second half, where he was just going back, and maybe that was because there was no runners, there was no options for him. And to be fair, during that sort of 20-25 minute period where Brighton were absolutely dominating us, there wasn't anyone really up there. Even Gyökeres was dropping back to defend. So I don't really blame Trossard too much, but yeah, I'd be happy to leave him in the good category. In the average, do you know what? You go with the average first. Sorry, yeah, and I agree with the good. By the way, I totally agree with Zubimendi and Trossard being in there as well. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Are we having a piss pillar as well?
I know who the player it's going to be for you, but yeah, sure. I thought it was Lewis Kelly, but I think I know who it's going to be. I'm not going to spoil it for everyone.
I'll tell you what. I'll do my average. I'll do my average.
Do average
but I also tell you my piss pill at the same time without actually Right, piss pillar, Marino and Skelly. There you go. They're out the window.
That's fine.
Right,
that's
average.
Fine. I can agree with that.
Look, I study Saka so much, right? And he's become like an obsession with me. And me and my mate, who was a Leeds fan, we were total agreement. And I get texts from him all the time throughout the game, and he sees it exactly as I see it personally. And he is so overrated. It's like getting beyond a joke now. And I used to like him as a character. He was a likable character when I first. Not when I first sort of set eyes in, but like the last sort of few years since the England issue when he missed the penalty and such like that, he grew on me as a likable character.
He's your Lando Norris, by the way. He's your Lando Norris.
Possibly, yeah.
Like with me. I loved him as a character, and then it changed.
Yeah, and you know what though? But recently, I'd say this whole of 2025, he grates on me now. Now, I don't know whether that's the fact is that he's missing so many chances. He's being very selfish. It's just, but I'm noticing it more and more, and it's the intelligence. It's his lack of football intelligence that seems to be getting to me. And my mate sees it exactly like me. Just the ball greediness, shooting from ridiculous angles, shooting when he should pass when he should shoot, etc., etc. And I know he had a decent game, but he did okay against Brighton, but it's not good enough. It's not, we're trying to win the bloody Premiership and the Champions League. And he is not good enough to do that. It is always trying to prove to everyone, by trying these worldy shots, trying to take players on and score from ridiculous angles. And I understand you've got to be selfish to a degree, but when you're a striker and you're scoring goals like the Van Nissels, right, like the Shearers of the old, I understand that if you're banging 30 goals a season, or like the Salahs and stuff like that, but Salah's got a brain. He knows when to pass, he knows when to shoot. Saka doesn't. And it's so frustrating. I'm pulling my hair out every time I watch him. I'm just thinking, please do something, the way I think, you've used your brain there. Arteta needs to get him to one side, or whoever the coaching staff is on the attacking side of it, which I don't think they've got, because Arteta again is so negative. It's all midfield mechanical shit. We need an attacking coach in there somewhere, and I think someone needs to get Saka to one side and explain to him that this is what you need to do. Whether they can teach it, whether you can coach it, I don't know, because I always think football, you've either got it or you haven't. But you could coach them slightly, say, look, you want to start doing this more. You're in a better position. Look at the angles where you're there. I know it's all done in split seconds these days. It's so hard to try and find that perfect pass. I always think of Ford and I think of Palmer. They know instinctively when to pass it. I don't know about Saka, and I'll keep doing it until the cows come home. If we win the league, I'll take it all back. But I'm just thinking that he is going to be the sole reason why we're failing to these last 3 or 4 months of not scoring, because of his inability to see a pass.
I
rant over.
Yeah, no. That's fair, mate. That's fair, and it's something that again, it shouldn't be new to anyone listening. We discuss this on a weekly basis, and there's whilst you were saying that, right, there's like an analogy that sort of comes to mind, right? You get a V12 engine, which is what Arsenal have got right now in terms of the midfield. Like you said, mechanical and midfield coach and stuff like that. We've got a V12 engine, right? But now a Ferrari, for example, is not just about the V12 engine, it's everything else around it. Do you know what I mean? It's the bodywork, it's the turbos, it's the way that everything works together for it to be a Ferrari, to be a supercar. Do you know what I mean? Like a hypercar. Whereas right now, I feel like we're missing the body kit and the rest of the bits that make the Ferrari a Ferrari. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Man City, for example, they've got it. They're just like, we just need to quickly repair the engine and we're done. And that's what they did. And obviously, look where they are now. Whereas for us, it's like, where is the rest of the car? Why are we not? Do you know what I mean? That's sort of what came to mind. Whether it's a good analogy or not, I don't care. But that's what I'm thinking of right now. It's like we've got all the mechanical bits, but we just need the flair on top of that. You know what I mean? We need players like a Salah, for example. Yes, he takes on defenders, but like you said, he's got a footballing brain. He knows when to pass on, when to take on, or when to sort of shoot. So I think that's probably the way that Saka is right now as well. It's like he's realised, like, oh, wait a minute, everyone else on the team now is up to my standard, up to my skill level. Even trickery. They're up to my level now, so now I need to do something more to prove that. It's like, no, you need to be at that level as everyone else, where you're working together and scoring goals. There is not one person in the team who should be valued above the rest. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like we have a Messi in our midst. It's Saka, right? Let's just be honest with ourselves, for God's sake. It's Saka, and that's it, right? So yeah, I think he just needs to sort of step down a little bit from himself and just to be like, look, I need to work with the team rather than trying to, like you said, take on 3 defenders. He made a couple of mistakes where he could have passed it out into the midfield for Odegaard on both occasions. He didn't, and then on the third chance he gave it. It's like, well, you've just missed 2 chances there. You know what I mean? Yeah, you gave it on the third where he scored, but what about the other 2? So, yeah, look, I don't want to spend too much time on Saka because it's, we've said a lot of things that we have repeated, but yeah, he was definitely in that average category. And even though it wasn't his worst match, again, these guys are giving him man of the match here. I just don't understand how they've done that and whatever. And whereas Odegaard actually scored and played very well, and he only got an 8.1. So come on. I mean. Yeah, who else in the average category, by the way? Gyökeres, I'll probably put Gyökeres in there. Yeah. I don't think he was piss poo. I thought he had a better game than his previous 2. Yeah. I think he did some half decent things. He did hold the ball up a bit better. He did lay off a few passes. He did have a really
good shot on target. Yeah, he fucked up in the first, couple of minutes with that shot, but I'm going to forgive him for that. But no, it's like, we're not playing to his strengths, and that's always going to be the concern. And we've bought Eze, we've bought Madueke. There's 100 million that we've wasted on players that we're not playing. And I do sometimes think that as a winning Premiership team, we need a maverick type of player, but Arteta will never ever find that maverick. Like the Cherky, the Fordens, the Doku, they're going to get Semenyo for fuck's sake. I mean, how many more creative players do they need? And we're going to still languish. We're going to probably buy a mechanical midfielder or another defender. And this is the difference, and this is why we won't win it this year, because of the manager's inability to let the players play with freedom. We haven't got that maverick, that mercurial Cantona, Gascoigne type player. We might have in Ranieri, he's never played. We might have had it with Darwin, but obviously they're not playing him enough. Yeah, he sticks fucking robotic cement boots in there. We've got Eze, for crying out loud. He's that potential match winner, but he doesn't play him, and this is it's got to change. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, that's a very eloquent way of putting it. But it's the frustration from both of us, really, that there are no more new words that we can come up with to describe how we're feeling, because it's just the same old stuff every week, really. Even though we've won and we got the 3 points, which again, like you said, we need to keep reminding ourselves that we did not lose that match, right? We haven't lost any of these matches. We've been on a good form. We have won. So yeah, sometimes being a bit harsh on ourselves, but we're thinking more for the future of the season rather than what's already happened. So I mean, look, in the average, we said that, and in the piss poor, there was only 2 players. There was Skelly and Marino were probably in that category. Not probably, they were definitely in that category. But there's nothing I want to say about them, to be honest with you. I've got nothing to say.
No.
I'm glad when Skelly came off and Nkapia moved to the left, and obviously Gabriel did his thing. But yeah, apart from that was probably the best thing that Skelly did, really, was come off. So. But he lost the ball a few times, and like I said, he wasn't good enough, and I don't know what's happened to him, really. He needs to really come back to confidence, but right now it's not there, my friend. But yeah, no. Cool. Right, do you have anything else that you want to add against the Brighton match? Should we do a quick prediction for tomorrow's match?
Brighton game? No, it's one of those things where you think to yourself, we're scraping through these games, and historically, other than Manchester City, the last sort of 4, when they won 4 in a row, and they were like steamrolling everyone, they're just playing, Harlem Globetrotters type football. Historically in the past, when you're not playing well and you still top the league, it's a good sign, because eventually it will change. Well, that's my hope, that the team will suddenly gel and we'll start blitzing teams, and everyone will then be like fearful, and we'll just go on this amazing run. But I think with City playing the way they are, the psychology of that impact on our players' minds and the manager's mind is interfering with how we actually are playing, and how the freedom side of it's just completely out the window. It's just we're hanging on now in games. That's it really on the Brighton game. All I was wanting to think to say as well before we go into predictions was, we're top of the league, right? We're 2 points clear. We've spent 265 million or something like that. Imagine if we hadn't spent that. Imagine if we hadn't have spent that money and all the injuries we've had, where would we be?
That is a question for science fiction writers, my friend, because who cares? But no, I respect. Look, that's a fair point to make. If I had to make a guess, I'll be honest, probably languishing around like 6th or 7th. To be fair, because
it's just obviously we've spent this much and we're mourning. But we spent this much, so how much do we need to spend to get to that level where we can just play fantastic football, or is it down to the manager?
But it's not even about just the one season spending, though, Stevie. It should have been about the last 10 seasons spending. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we haven't really had that much, or the recruitment that we've made, there hasn't been that good because either the manager wasn't, Wenger wasn't up to scratch anymore. He was sort of outdated. Then Emery came in and he maybe wasn't too ambitious. Do you know what I mean? And then Arteta, we had to give Arteta like 4 or 5 years to actually learn and stuff like that. So again, he was trial and error, buying players and not working out. So it's very difficult and probably a bit unfair to base it off just one season spending. This should carry on next season. Maybe not to the tune of 265 million, but at least 100 million you need to spend in the summer, right? If we had it our way,
they spent 120 in January, just gone.
I was just about to say, right? Like, if we are really serious, then you need to spend that sort of money in January as well. So this is the problem, right? It's like, okay, we're ambitious, but apparently we can't get too ambitious. You know what I mean? So, and this is why, going back to my point, what I said in the middle of the podcast was the fragility of a winning team. In this case, okay, let's say we win this season, one or both Champions League and Premier League, but does that mean we go another 15 years without winning anything because we need to rebuild the team because all of our best players have moved on? These are the questions that worry me more than the sort of the current present. Do you know what I mean? It's more like, great, we can win this season, but then what happens next season? Does that mean we end up 7th because everyone's tired or we don't have the good players, or Saliba's like, well, I've won something with Arsenal now, I'm going to go. You know what I mean? Saka's like, well, I won something with Arsenal now, I'm going to go. So
please do. I actually think that if we don't win it this year, that we'll lose quite a lot of the team. I think there'll be a full team rebuild in the summer if we don't win it.
And I don't really blame them. I don't blame them. They, unfortunately, they are humans. They are athletes. They want to be at the top of their game. And if they're not finding it here at Arsenal, they have to go somewhere else. And I can't blame them, right? Even if Saka did it, I know for most people it's going to be like, oh, betrayal. It's like, betrayal of what? He didn't do shit with us. It's not like we owe him anything or he owes us anything. He did what he can for us. See you later. Do you know what I mean? If he's going to go to Bayern and win because it's a safe bet, fair dues. Like Harry Kane did. He's like, shit, what's the safest bet that I can go? I'll go to Bayern and I'll win a league. So, but yeah, look, Stevie, let's do some predictions and we'll get this podcast out because it should have been out really. But yeah, Villa on Tuesday, so tomorrow as we record this.
I hate it, mate. I hate it. I can't call it. I could actually say we could win 4-0 because we'll play absolutely amazing because all our demons will be put to rest. I could see a 4-0. I could see a 2-1 to them. And I could see a 2-all. I could see every possible result tomorrow. That's how fucking unconvinced I am about everything. Mate, I just hope we win. I hope we don't get beat.
Yeah,
if Arteta sets us up so we don't get beat, then fair dues, because if we get a point with 3 points clear, City go to Sunderland, which they'll probably beat Sunderland, even though Sunderland will be beat at home. Sunderland have got 7 or 8 players away at the African Cup of Nations, so they're not going to be up for it as much as they were against us. I don't think it's the end of the world if we draw. So I'd love to win, but you know what I mean? I would hate to think we get beat, and that's my concern, the way he's going to set up. If he plays Marino and he plays Jokeris from the start, we'll get beat, and I'm worried about that. I can't predict the score, mate. I'm going to say I'll okay, 2-1.
Yeah. That's a safe bet, really, isn't it? 2-1. I'm going to go with a 2-1 as well, but to us, not to them this time. But yeah, I mean, they've got some good players. Morgan Rogers has been on top form.
Yeah, he's on fire, and obviously Wally Watkins.
Wally Watkins.
Wally Watkins.
He's absolute Wally. What an insult. What a Wally. Yeah, Ollie
it's
Watkins.
Worrying though, isn't it? It is worrying that he's coming into some form, and he looked really good against Chelsea. I know they were shit the first half, and Chelsea should have been out of sight, but that's what Emery's team does. He changes it. He's proactive. He does it. He changed it perfectly. Came on and changed the game, and then there was only one winner really.
Yeah.
When he changed it, it's amazing.
It was. I mean, that Chelsea game, real quick. It seemed like Chelsea were definitely going to win it, and then when I saw the scoreline at the end, because I didn't watch the match, I was like,
I didn't. Yeah.
How did you lose? But then I saw the highlights, and I was like, oh, you did Chelsea things, gotcha. And Cucurella, by the way, that guy needs an absolute stabbing in the tunnel. That guy's an asshole, man. He's an asshole.
Do you know what though?
Such a
when he
horrible
came off, that's when they got their goals. He changed it, and I thought, you know what, they shouldn't have took him off.
Yeah, but he was going to risk him because he had a yellow, and he was definitely going to get a red by the end of it. So,
yeah.
Oh, God, Cucurella, honestly, like such a
vile, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh my God, he's diabolical. Not in a good way either. So,
he's vile.
But yeah, look.
Go on, what's your prediction? 2-1. Yeah.
2-1. I'm going to go with, and just a couple of things on the lineup. I don't want to run through it, but I definitely want to see. I want to see Eze. I want to see Rice. I want to see Odegaard on the same pitch. Potentially even a Jesus on the left with Gyökeres down the middle.
Is Timber going to be back? That's my concern.
I definitely want to see Calafiori and Timber if they are coming back. But it's very short. You know, it's like, you know what I mean. It's not
3
much,
days.
Yeah, it's not much between the matches. So
will he risk it?
Calafiori, I could see playing, whereas with Timber, I think he'll probably be a bit more cautious with him, just because the impact that he can have for us in the upcoming. Obviously,
I don't want to see the same lineup as against Brighton. 100%.
I do not want to see.
If I see the same lineup, I'm done. Yeah, I won't even watch it.
Yeah, you're right, and that's just adds negativity as soon as you see the lineup, and then, you know, throughout the whole match, you're like, well, we're not doing anything here. So
yeah.
But yeah, look, Stevie, we will see that match. We will watch it, and we will chat about it next weekend, maybe. I don't even know.
There'll be 2 games, won't there? Because we play Bournemouth next weekend away.
It's Saturday.
5:30 Saturday.
Shit. Right, okay. In that case,
see if we could do one. Might be tricky, but could we do one straight after the Villa game tomorrow night? Or not?
Probably not, I'm afraid, because my parents are coming as well. So it's going to be massively full house, unfortunately. But the very worst case, we will be back to discuss the Villa game and the Bournemouth game. If we win, by the way, just, you know, fuck it. Let's just do a quick voice clip each going, yeah,
we could do a quick 20-minute one, yeah. Just before we go then, mate, I just obviously want to quickly talk about transfer window. Do you want to sign anyone? Who do you want to sign? But will we sign anyone?
Yes, I want to sign someone. For me, Semenyo was probably top of the list, I'll be honest. Like, I haven't thought about any other player apart from him, because he's exactly what we need. And no, I don't think we will sign someone. Like,
why aren't we buying Semenyo?
Because we are assholes and prefer City.
Seriously, what's your take of it? Is it down to Arteta?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, not even part of the conversation of signing Semenyo. So it's very baffling when you have a good player like that who's willing to move potentially in January.
Who is an Arsenal fan?
Honestly, the only word that I can use is baffles me, because that's it. I have no explanation as to why we're not even having that discussion, unless we hijack it. I don't know.
Because if you look at, if City buy him, they've got Doku, right? Is he better than Doku? Possibly not. Doku, I'd rather have. Obviously they're great 2 players to have, and, you know. But I know Semenyo can play both sides, but they've got Foden on the right. They've also got. Who's that? He's a Brazilian, isn't he, on the right, that comes on for them?
Is it Savinho or something? Or
yes.
Savio or something?
Savinho, yeah. Savinho, yeah. So they've got him, but they're all about him going out. So, to me, we should be all in for Semenyo.
Yeah, I agree.
Like you say, him and Eze and Rice in midfield. Wow. But that baffles me, that. So, yes, we do need to sign someone. Whether he got someone in mind, but I think personally if they are gonna sign someone, it'll be like I said to you before, a Declan Rice kind of alternative.
Yeah, backup.
Yeah, and there's this guy in. Yeah. Is it Lille? Someone from Lille, or there's another one from AC Milan, and there's another one from Club Bruges. I think that we're looking at Stankovic. I think possibly.
I think the one from Milan has declined. I think he's staying in Milan. The 19-year-old Basaglio or something like that. Yeah, I think I read that he declined, or they weren't listening to offers for him. It's like 19-year-old or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Is he going to win us the league? That's not the type of player that we want. We want Semenyo, right? We want a Semenyo, right? Even going for an Ollie fucking Watkins at this stage in the league, I don't care.
Do you know what I'd have? It's a bit of a shout. You might have thought this before. You know, I know we've got Havertz coming back, and we've got Jesus, and we've got Gyökeres, and we've got fucking cement boots. I'd have a daft punt on Jimenez from Fulham.
He could be someone, yeah. I mean, he's always scored against us, so there's no reason for him not to score for us.
And you know who else? And I've mentioned this before, and you probably don't like him, but just someone, we might get him for dirt cheap peanuts. Like, he could be another sort of Trossard type signing. You probably don't like him, but I've always rated him as just someone that you could throw on for the last 10 minutes to cause chaos. And he plays for Fulham. And his name is Traore.
No. I'd rather have Smith Rowe back, to be honest with you, than Traore.
No,
That's a
Traore, he's a beast. He's an animal. He's quick. He's direct. He torments defenders.
Wasted transfer. I'll be honest. Wasted transfer. I'd
rather him than Marino.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough, but I just don't think Traore's end product is anywhere as good as Marino's, to be honest.
Mate.
I know. I've just baffled. I've just blown your mind whole. I have just blown your mind. But look, Stevie.
Marino.
Screw Marino, but sorry, as a striker he's all right. But like midfielder, no, that's I don't want
potential partner. No,
I do not want midfielder Marino. No, definitely not. But hopefully, in the upcoming days before the transfer window opens, we are in the discussion of signing Semenyo. That's the only hope that I have, to be honest with you, because there's no reason. Absolutely no reason, unless obviously they just don't want to invest anymore and say, well, like we said, we can't get too ambitious. And at that point, it's like, well, what even is the point of going for the league season in, season out? We can't do it on a sustainability like that. So
yeah, quickly, there's talk of Semenyo going to City, isn't there? Obviously, that's the 95% certainty. Yeah. And Nwaneri going to Bournemouth on loan to replace him.
Yes. If he goes to Bournemouth to replace Semenyo, that means he's going to be a starter. So yes, 100%. I would sacrifice Nwaneri for half a season on loan to Bournemouth, just for him to get the game time that he deserves. So yeah, absolutely. I would be happy with that loan, to be honest. If it's but
we wouldn't get Semenyo. He's going to City.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, you know, it doesn't matter because Nwaneri needs game time. I'd rather give him out on loan than him going, I need to leave at the end of the season. So yeah,
and the only bonus with that would be because we play Bournemouth.
He wouldn't play against
weekend. He wouldn't play against us. And Semenyo, if he's going to City, we wouldn't play him
until
he wouldn't play against us until we play City.
Yeah, so
I know.
It's chess. And
we could be 5 points clear, or we could be 5 points behind.
Chess moves by Arteta, the magician. Do you know what I mean? Who puts a curse and voodoo on the opposition players for them to score for us. But there you go. Right, cool, Stevie. We will leave it there. Then we'll get this out for everyone to listen to, and we will be back by the weekend with another brand new episode. So please tune in for that. And again, apologies about the sporadicness. That's not even a word, but I've made it a word now.
I like it. I use it often.
Sporadicness, yeah, of the episodes, but we are trying our best, and hopefully by the time February rolls around, we will be in a better swing of things. So
it'll be all on TV.
Yes. Right, we will leave it there. Thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you on the next one. Until then, stay safe, stay alert.
Au revoir. Oui. Arrivederci. Si.
That was very, like, okay, we're going. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.